You don't need to manipulate her. You don't need to fake being alpha. And you definitely don't need to play games. The kind of man a woman can't let go of isn't chasing her. He's chasing purpose. He's not addicted to her validation. He's addicted to becoming more than he was yesterday. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who worked as a security guard at night. During the day, he studied psychology, worked out, wrote in his journal, and spent weekends helping his younger brother through a drug addiction. He never posted about his life. He never called himself high value. But every woman who met him felt it, because his life had depth, his presence had weight. He didn't impress women, he imprinted on them. So let's break this down. What makes a man unforgettable without using tricks or tactics? 1. Emotional equanimity. You ever seen a man lose his cool over a woman not texting back? That's not love, that's addiction. Real masculinity is calm. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. A man who can feel jealousy without acting jealous, who can feel desire without becoming desperate, who can feel pain without losing his path. That's the kind of man she thinks about at 2 a.m. Because you're not just safe, you're stable. 2. A deep life. A man who has roots, not just routines. He doesn't fill his days just to stay busy. He fills them to become. One guy watches Netflix to avoid thinking. The other reads, meditates, explores philosophy, travels solo, writes letters to his future self. One man is entertainment. The other is enlightenment. She can scroll past the first guy, but the second, he lives rent-free in her mind. Because every conversation with him feels like reading a good book. You want to reread it. 3. Integrity that isn't performed. Ever meet someone who's trying to be a good guy? Women can smell that from a mile away. That's not integrity, that's performance. True integrity is quiet. It's when you help a stranger and tell no one. It's when you walk away from a toxic woman, even when she looks like a dream. It's when your private actions are nobler than your public words. And that's rare. So when she meets a man who doesn't just say the right things, but actually lives them, she remembers. 4. Devotion to purpose over pleasure. There's a famous story of a samurai who was so devoted to his swordsmanship that he refused the advances of a powerful woman. Why would I give up my mission for a moment of distraction? That man wasn't heartless. He was disciplined. Too many men collapse at the feet of beauty. But a man grounded in purpose doesn't. And that's magnetic. You become the reward, not the beggar. 5. The courage to be alone. Most men rush into relationships because they're afraid to be alone with themselves. But a man who can walk through solitude without shrinking, he becomes unforgettable. Because you can't offer someone deep love unless you've first found peace in your own soul. You stop being needy and start being needed. 6. Quiet confidence. Confidence isn't loud. It doesn't flex. It doesn't argue to prove its point. It just is. It shows up when you say no without guilt, when you laugh at your own mistakes, when you're kind to strangers without expecting anything back. Confidence is knowing who you are when no one is clapping. And that energy is rare. That's why it's remembered. 7. Emotional presence. Here's the truth. A lot of men hear without listening, touch without feeling, look without seeing. But a man who is present in a conversation, who remembers the small details, who notices when she's tired or hurting, even if she hides it well, he becomes the safest space she's ever known. Because women don't leave the man who makes them feel beautiful. They leave the one who makes them feel invisible. 8. Long-term thinking. Boys think about the weekend. Men think about their legacy. This doesn't mean being rich. It means having direction, knowing what you're building, who you're becoming, what values will define your next decade. Most men are passengers, But when you become the driver of your own life, she notices. Because your presence makes her feel like life isn't drifting. It's moving somewhere meaningful. So no, you don't need games. You need depth. You don't need to act like a king. You need to be a man worth following. The kind of man who doesn't chase women because he's already walking a path so powerful. She wants to walk it with him, quietly, deeply, without pressure. Becoming the kind of man she can't forget isn't about getting her. It's about getting yourself right. So get to work, not for her, for the man you're becoming. Because when you become that man, she won't ever want to let go.